It's a polarizing one. Today we're talking about the Pentax 17 and oh boy, does YouTube disagree about this camera. Okay, first a bit about the camera itself. The Pentax 17 was released in June 2024, and yes, it is a half-frame film camera, which means only half of a 35mm frame is exposed each shot. Talking about millimeters, it has a 25mm f3.5 lens, which gives you a roughly 37mm lens in full frame terms. The Pentax uses zone focusing, has an in-camera flash, and takes a bog standard CR2 battery. For what's essentially a point and shoot with some additional creative control, it does have a surprising amount of different shooting modes. Besides auto, the mode dial is divided in two sections, a white and an orange or cream color section. The white modes will shoot with the flash off, the orange modes will shoot with the flash on. And then on the left of the camera we have the ISO dial. Besides all the shooting modes, you can set and lock the ISO, and there's even a dedicated exposure compensation dial ranging from -2 to +2 stops in 1/3 of a stop increments. The other thing that adds to your creative control is the fact that this is a zone focus camera. It can be set from macro, from roughly 25 centimeters, or just under a foot, to infinity, using these little symbols at the top of the lens here, or the distance scale below the lens. All right, that's enough boring information. Let's quickly move on to what I like a lot about the camera. First like on the list, and probably a controversial one, the design. I like it. I think it looks instantly recognizable, contemporary yet very film-like. I even like the little note holder on the back. I just wish it was metal. I also really like, or even love, the handling of the Pentax 17. Something to get used to for sure is the fact that when holding the camera normally, like horizontally like this, your viewfinder is vertical. Some reviewers really dislike this, but it's half frame. What do you expect? I also really love a good grip on a camera, and this one is great. Now let's talk about build quality. When you first pick it up, it does feel a bit lighter than you might expect, which I think adds to people considering it a bit plasticky. And despite being a bit of a featherweight, it does feel very well built. The cold to the touch magnesium top and bottom plates actually help loads with that quality feel. All right, image quality. Now, this was a major gripe on YouTube because of its half-frame resolution, but honestly, the Pentax 17 can shoot great images. I think it's the combination of a modern lens with modern coating that unlocks half-frame quality that maybe wasn't possible back in the day. The vast majority of the images that I got from my rolls turned out very well. Besides their sharpness and punchiness, I would also call out the exposure. If, however, despite all this, you're still a bit worried about it being half-frame, just use film stock with a fine grain like Ektar 100 or Portra 400 for slightly more sensitive film, and then get higher resolution scans. Just beware of some film labs charging double for half-frame film development, which I think is just a scam, to be honest, and it also kills, you know, the Pentax half-frame benefits. So definitely check development pricing at your local photo shop before you buy this camera, or just never go to that shop again. So there's plenty to like about the Pentax 17, but surely some of the complaints on the interwebs are valid. Most importantly, I can confirm that the build quality is solid. I've not babied it, and I've even dropped it twice, and it still works fine. Despite that though, I can't deny the fact that it does feel a bit plasticky. This is mostly caused by the scratchy plastics used on the back and here on the front. It's not super chunky, and it easily fits in a jacket pocket or a small pouch, which is how I usually carry it around. But surely it could have been a tiny bit smaller. I mean, it's half frame. Could have been smaller. So I like the design for the most part, but what really bothers me about the design is that gaping hole of a lens. It's just the infuriatingly perfect size for a bunch of dust to collect in there. The first thing I did was order a little UV filter to protect the lens. is way better. Right, now about those dials. These dials are very easily moved. So every time you pull the camera from your bag, you have to check the dials because they will move. It's just a bit annoying. I like the grip, like I mentioned, but the battery grip screw, that thing on the side there, it slowly but surely unscrews itself. I've even had it come off entirely after a few rolls, and luckily I was able to find it in my bag. I lost it in my bag, but if I lost it outside of my bag, it would have just disappeared forever. And that's it for dislikes. So definitely some first release bugs. Does that mean though that it's not worth the roughly $500 or 500 euros asking price? Well, let's talk about it. The Pentax retails for around $500 euros. I paid 549 euros, which I think is a bit steep. But I recently saw prices across both US and Europe include some free rolls of film. If you can pick it up for under 500 with some film included, I think you're paying a fair price. Because it's still a quality camera that's actually fun to use, and it comes with warranty. And with prices of 30, 40-year-old point and shoots going through the roof, I really think it's worth considering. Now finally, I'll score the Pentax on the G.A.S meter. That is my very own unscientific camera rating system to help you decide whether this camera should be added to your probably unnecessarily large camera collection ASAP. Well, I was leaning to an 8 out of 10 because of how much I enjoy using it, but I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. The higher price, the loosening screw, and the sort of easily shifting dials, they do put a bit of a damper on my rating. And despite it being brand new, it's got some stiff competition for a lot less money from vintage zone focusing cameras like the Olympus XA4. Go check out my review of that lovely little camera. With all that said, should you buy the Pentax 17? Well, yes, but not as many reviewers suggested because you support Pentax's bold choice to revive film. Honestly, that's not our job. I think you should buy the Pentax 17 if you're interested in a new film camera that makes it a breeze to shoot sharp, punchy film photos, and lots of them, without having to worry about a 3-decade-old dodgy light meter, leaky old light seals, or unreliable ancient autofocus. Now, I find it tricky to really consider an alternative camera, as it's really quite unique. However, a few older film cameras come to mind that also have zone focusing and at least some level of creative control, like the Olympus XA4 that I mentioned. Although you'd be missing an in-camera flash and full-blown exposure comp dial, so maybe something like the Nikon TI-35 or Minolta TC1. Both have a metal build, but they're also a lot pricier. And they come without warranty. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm sure there are other alternatives I'm missing, so please do let me know, because I can always add some more cameras to my wish list to maintain a healthy level of gas. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe. If you want to watch some of my other videos, like my review of the Olympus XA4, click somewhere on the screen.